In her book, Backstage Pass, Naomi Striemer writes about how she walked into the prestigious boardroom at Sony Records and walked out with the record deal of a lifetime. Stay tuned to hear the rest of her phenomenal story. Here today on Babbie's House. It's all coming up right now.
Babbie's house. Every day is filled with possibility. At Babbie's house, Babbie's house, everybody is family. Welcome to Babbie's house.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Babbie's House, where everybody is a member of the family, and you know that the circle is big enough to include you. Thank you so very much for being my very special guest today. I'm Babbie Mason, and welcome to the show. Naomi Striemer is my guest today on Babbie's House, and she has a phenomenal story. As a singer and songwriter with a big dream, of recording with the record company of your life, I certainly get this story of how Naomi Striemer walked into one of the most, if not the most prestigious boardroom as far as record companies are concerned, and walked out with the record contract of her dreams. But I'm not going to tell all of her story. I want you to hear it straight from her. She writes a book called Backstage Pass, and what a phenomenal God story this is. Stay tuned to hear Naomi Striemer's beautiful story, and she's going to sing for us as well. And right now, I want to sing for you one of those fun songs that I love singing, that's inspired by Malachi chapter 3, verse 10. And it says that God will open up the windows of heaven, and he'll pour you out a blessing that you will not have room to receive them all. Well, God will open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing. God will open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing. God will he'll open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, and you will not have the room, not because of you, but because he is good, and you will not have the room to receive it. Well, God will he'll open up the windows, pour you out a blessing. Yes, my God will he'll open up the windows and pour you out a blessing. I do believe that God will he'll open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, and you will not have the room, not because of you, but because he's good, and you will not have a room to receive it. Listen, let me tell you about the God I serve, how he keeps on blessing me, and he'd still be worthy of all my praise if he didn't do another thing. He woke me up and he started me along my way, while the blood is still running warm in my veins. I'm in the land of the living for one more day. God has really been good to me. Do you believe that God will open
receive it. Now if you don't believe you've really been blessed, take another look and see. He put clothes on your back and food on your table and supplied every one of your needs. So instead of thanking God for things that you don't have yet, thank God for what you have and what you have left. I know that you will find you've really been blessed. Oh, God has been good to you. Do you believe that God will open? I know He will. He'll pour you out a blessing. Oh, but God will open. I know He's able. He'll pour you out a blessing. I do believe that God will open. I know He will. He'll pour you out a blessing. Well, and you will not have the room, not because of you, not because of you, but because God is good, and you will not have the room, not because of you, no, God's really been good to you. You will not have the room, you won't have the room, no, to receive it.
You know, recently a woman wrote me to say nobody cares what happens to her money. Well, that's just not true. For 75 years, the FDIC has protected the money you deposit in banks. Those depositors have never lost one penny in the history of the FDIC. So here's the bottom line. You just can't put your money in the bank and not know how FDIC insurance works. You have got to make sure your money is 100% protected. So I want you to go to myfdicinsurance.gov and click on Edie the Estimator. In just a few simple steps, Edie lets you know if all your money is safe and sound. If I were you, I would want to know that. Who cares more about your money than you, me, and the FDIC?
Susie's right. Visit myfdicinsurance.gov and use Edie the Estimator, because the more you know, the safer your money.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn. As many as 3 million people will be homeless this year, and over 1 million are children. Why are they homeless? The reasons are surprising and could affect any one of us, like job loss, illness, divorce, or domestic violence. HomeAid builds transitional shelters, safe, caring places for people to get back on their feet and rebuild their lives. Please join me by supporting HomeAid today. Call 888-3-HomeAid. Thank you.
Does retirement have to wait until my 70s?
Is a great college for our kids?
Out of the question?
Is the American dream
Out of our reach?
Not if we can help it. We're the National Endowment for Financial Education, a non-profit organization dedicated to helping people just like you get smart about their money. Log on to smartaboutmoney.org today and start taking control of your financial life.
Welcome back to the show. I'm excited to introduce to you Naomi Striemer, and she has a brand new book out called Backstage Pass, the Naomi Striemer story. And it is the story of how Naomi walked into the boardroom of a very prestigious record company. And you know, every singer dreams of that kind of an opportunity, and she walked out with a record contract of her dreams. And that's when this phenomenal God story just takes off like a bullet, and as they say in the record business. But you know, God's thumbprint and his handprint is all over this story, and I want her to tell it for herself. Will you help me to welcome to Babbie's house Naomi Striemer? Welcome to Babbie's house, my friend. I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you. It's
What a phenomenal story. Of course, I set us up with that Sony Music boardroom, and I know how you live that dream in your head as a little girl when you're standing in the mirror singing in a hairbrush. You know, how did all of that happen for you?
Well, it's so crazy. I actually grew up in the middle of nowhere in Canada, in a little farm. We didn't have any music. I didn't know music existed outside of the church. So when I discovered it at around 10 years old, that was it. I knew I had to be on the radio. I had to be with my, fellow musicians out there. And just these little steps, I look back and I know that God's hand was in it, because it's such a puzzle that all these little pieces fell together to get me into that office in New York City. It just, it really shouldn't have happened. I told my dad, we weren't really wealthy or anything like that, far from it, and he said, we've invested a lot in your career, and we can't continue to invest year after year, because I was just 18 years old. And I said, Dad, I'm going to New York. I'm going to go get a record deal. And, now I look at that and think, how silly was I? How ignorant. But it happened. And I went to New York, and I met with this big, huge attorney, and I said, you need to get me in these offices, and I need to show these people that I deserve to be on their label. And he said, well, you sold me, so I'm going to call the people and make these appointments, and by, Tuesday to Tuesday, 1 week, I was up to the president, and she had me sing, and I was sitting there quietly, my stomach was in my throat, and she said, I think it's time we call your lawyer, because we want to invite you to the family.
Wow.
And I just couldn't believe it. It was Valentine's Day, and I got out of that meeting, and I called my dad, and I said, Dad, I'm coming home tonight. I got my record deal.
Wow. And after you got that deal, you met someone who gave you a very interesting message. Tell us about that.
Well, and I'm sure it's a familiar story. In music, you just go up and down. You have these huge opportunities, and then things won't work out quite the way you wanted. And I had that repeating. And finally, I ended up in a studio in New York City, a hip-hop studio, and this chauffeur who I'd met the night before came up to me, and he said, I had a dream about you last night. And I thought, that is just so odd to come up to somebody and say something like that. And we were the only two people in this hallway, and I thought, well, I'm going to hear him out. Obviously, he's brave enough to say it. So he said, an angel came to me and gave me a message for you. So here it is, and this isn't my words, this is the Holy Spirit. And I knew then I had to pay attention, and I was locked in place, and I just had chills down my spine, and he proceeded to tell me my whole life, just everything. And at first I thought, where did he read this? He had to know from something, and God must have known what I was thinking, because then he started telling me the very prayers I'd been having to God. And he said, you keep climbing up the top of the mountain, all your dreams are right there, you're about to reach out and grab them, and then they crumble into dust. And it just keeps happening over and over. And I was terrified it was just going to keep happening. And, on biography, it looks like everything was successful, but the reality was it was very heartbreaking many times. And he said, you got to choose your path. He said, you can either keep chasing after your dreams, this will keep happening, or, you can choose to give it all up for Jesus. Just chase after him. Don't worry about what you want and what you're thinking you deserve and all these things. Just chase after him. Give up everything else.
So what did you do?
I ran out of the studio. And I thought, no one's going to believe that this happened, ever. And it took me being brought to another massive opportunity to finally come to that decision of saying, I'm ready for God. I'm ready to see what he has planned for me. And that's it. And that was when I finally was able to say, I've got no idea where we're going with this, Lord, but just take it and lead me.
What a walk of faith to see the dream of your life on a table, but knowing in your heart that that's not God's will for your life.
Yeah.
Was it hard, or was it easy to just give it all up and walk away from that deal, or was there this tug on your heart that made you want to look back?
I think it was harder if I would have stayed in it because I always felt like something was going to go wrong. Even in the biggest moments, I thought it feels like it's going to just crash. So I felt an overwhelming peace when I finally said, this is it, I'm done, I have to see what Jesus wants. And from that point on, it was just a peace, just a comfort of, I don't have to worry, I don't have to be concerned anymore. This isn't in my hands. My career's not up to me. My life isn't up to me. And you know, a lot of family members and a lot of friends were like, you are crazy, you're nuts, what are you doing? You know, these opportunities don't come over and over. You gotta stick with it. And I just knew I couldn't.
Yes, and you know, and this doesn't mean that, you know, when you turn down, you know, the big record deal, that whatever is out there, you know, is over the top, you know, riches and fame and glory. But as you said, there's this tremendous peace that God gives you, that you know you're in His will. That means you know that His plan for you is better. What do you have to say in the last minute that we have before you sing for us in just a little bit? What would be the bottom line for that person who is watching today, who is in that place of indecision and wondering, which way do I go?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is God has a tremendous plan for every one of us. He can see our full potential where we can't. So even in the darkest of dark moments, just have faith, just trust in God, and just continue to let go of self and say, God, I need more of you and less of me. Lead me, because He's got a great plan.
And have you for one moment regretted that decision of walking away from that big deal and walking towards Jesus?
No, there's nothing better, no.
Absolutely. You're going to sing for us in just a little bit, and you wrote these beautiful songs.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about them in the last few seconds of this interview?
Absolutely. Earth and Sky is a song that literally, it deals with, no matter how big the world seems or how big the universe seems, God is right with us. He's in us. He can never depart from us, no matter, you know, what troubles come between the earth and the sky. God is there.
That's good.
The second song is called Untold Story, and it really goes with my story. And I know it's not just my story. I know there's so many with this story. And it's we choose our paths, we choose our dreams, and when they're falling apart, you know, sometimes we get the answer, sometimes we don't. We have to just trust God will give us the answer.
Awesome. We're going to hear all about this beautiful music and hear it when we come back from this break. Naomi Striemer is my guest. Stay with me after this break. She's going to sing for us. Come right back to me.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him going on to fascinate millions with his talent? 1 in 260,000. The odds of this born racer having 157 career top 10 finishes in NASCAR? 1 in 125 billion. The odds of him winning both the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year? 1 in 195 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 110. I'm NASCAR driver Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism.
Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
Naomi Striemer knows what it means to give it all up and get God's everything in return. And she sings about that on her CD called Hope That Breaks the Dark. She's going to sing for us right now. Let's welcome back to Babbie's house, Naomi Striemer.
When I'm lost in the shadows, weary from the lies, when I'm nothing more than broken, you stand by my side. You fill my heart with wonder, and with every star that shines, it reminds me of your love. You are the hope that breaks the dark. You are the God who holds my heart. Nothing between earth and sky can separate me from your love. Hanging on to every word. You are the truth, the way, and I'm sure nothing between earth and sky can separate me from your love. You are with me through the fire, my shelter from the flame. You're my comfort in the chaos. I find peace in your name. In the middle of my trials, when the darkness closes in, I will look to the heavens. Oh, you are the hope that breaks the dark. You are the God who holds my heart. Nothing between earth and sky can separate me from your love. Hanging on to every word. You are the truth, the way, and I'm sure nothing between earth and sky can separate me from your love. Your love, your love. I'm surrounded by your love. You are the hope that breaks the dark. And you are the God who holds my heart. Oh, you are the hope that breaks the dark. You are the God who holds my heart. Nothing between earth and sky can separate me from your love. Hanging on to every word. You are the truth, the way, and I'm sure nothing between earth and sky can separate me from your love. From your love. Every choice, every chance that I didn't make, every road, every step that I didn't take, all the twists, all the turns of the moments that I was in, all that was and what might have been. Someday I will look into your face. You will tell me all the ways that you were guarding me, even when I couldn't see you there. Although I was unaware of how your grace was guiding me, I stand amazed and give you praise for every dreams that are falling apart. Every path that I took